So the first thing I like to do when I'm mucking out is just clear the space. So feed bowls, hay nets, water buckets all come out so that I can see what I'm doing. I think it's funny how mucking out is such a personal thing and everyone is so different. Obviously this is just the way that I've been taught, but everyone has their own style and their own little tricks, and once you found your style, I find that you tend to sort of stick with it. So I start by removing all the poo that I can see, and if you have a horse of your own or you muck out the same horses regularly, you'll probably notice that they have specific areas of the stable where they always wee and poo, and this actually goes back to their instincts and wild horse behaviours. So wild horses use dung as scent markings, so by repeatedly using the same spot, your horse can create their own territory in their stable, and this is also why horses will poo on a fresh bed, and we'll come on to that later. So once all the poo is out, I'll move on to the wet. I personally try to be really economical with my beds, which means I try to save as much of them as possible. You can get a feel for where the wet actually is from the weight and the colour of the straw, and often I find that the top layers are actually fine. It's the deeper layers where the wee has sunk in which needs taking out. So as I sift through the bed, anything that's clean and that I'm keeping, I'll just throw up onto the bank, which is the raised sides of each of the bed. And as I'm sifting through, anything that's dirty will just go in the wheelbarrow. I'll keep doing this until the whole floor has been taken up and I can see the floor. I'll then go around my banks and I'll chuck them up, which means I throw the straw up to the banks as I go along. And what that allows to happen is the poo that's got stuck in the banks will fall down onto the floor since it's heavier than the straw, and then I can pick that up with my fork and put it in the wheelbarrow so that everything is as clean as possible. It's so funny now looking after one horse and having the time, I guess the leisure, it sounds funny, but the leisure to muck out at your own pace. When I was at school, on the weekends I used to work at a hunt yard with lots of hunters and eventers, and you'd be on such a tight schedule trying to get around them all quickly and muck out fast before the riding, and I used to be so much quicker than I am now. But I think if my old bosses saw me now, they would, hang their heads in shame. But there is something therapeutic about taking your time and really making a really comfortable, cozy bed and not having to worry about being really fast. So I love that. So once the floor's clean, I'll just sweep it out and take out any of the extra dirt, and then I'll get my new straw and place it on a clean side of the stable out of the way, since I like to pull down the existing bed first. So Ted's bed actually has a pretty established set of banks, so it's quite easy to pull down the excess straw that I chucked up. Banks are super important to a stable. They're particularly for horses who spend a lot of time in them. It's really important to have banks because horses will roll or lie down in their stable, and if they get stuck on the edge of the wall or get cast, as it's called, these banks will help them sort of roll back over. They give them something to roll against. So it's really important that they're there just to look after your horse. So what I'm doing here is just going round and levelling out the bed. So now that I have my existing bed, I'm just running it round with a fork to make sure that there's the same amount of bed everywhere. And I'll do the same with the straw, the new straw, when I have this level bed. And this for me is one of the most therapeutic parts of actually mucking out. I love getting the new straw and just feathering it out and putting it out all over the top. Some people like to put the new straw underneath their new bed, and the reason for that is that the new smell can make horses be messier, but I find that it doesn't actually make a difference with Ted, and I love the way that I think it looks neater to have the new straw on top, and it also gives more of an established bed underneath for the wet. So once I've set that up, I'll then go and make my hay nets. I don't see that there's much point in sweeping before I've made hay nets, since hay can drag across the yard and make it look messy. So I always do my hay nets and then sweep. And I fill them up quite a lot. Ted isn't greedy and he won't, gorge on it, but I like knowing that he has plenty. So I'll just tie these up with a quick release knot. We want to do that so that if by some horrible, accident, the horse gets stuck in them or anything like that, they will fall down really easily. They're not tied up, really, really tight. They'll come undone easily if anything were to happen. So once my water has started filling up, I'll actually sweep outside and get that done at the same time and just generally tidy up so that everything is really neat. And it's definitely a fine balance between the water overflowing. I've definitely had that happen before. So once everything's done, all that's left is making feeds. So I'll shut this for now and shut it away with everything being tidy and go and make the feeds.